باسم الآب والولد والمنفس القدوس أحد واملأ آمين. باسم الآب والولد والمنفس القدوس أحد واملأ آمين. باسم الآب والولد والمنفس القدوس أحد واملأ آمين. Good morning, blessings and love. So yeah, hope everyone's had a blessed weekend. Just stop this alarm. Must be 9 o'clock. Yep. So on with the reading. Leviticus 3. Give thanks for these few words. If his offering is a sacrifice of peace offerings, if he offers it from the herd, whether male or female, he shall offer it without defect before Yahweh. He shall lay his hand on the head of his offering and kill it at the door of the tent of the meeting. Aaron's sons, the priests, shall sprinkle the blood around on the altar. He shall offer on the sacrifice of the peace offerings an offering made by fire to Yahweh. The fat that covers the innards, and all the fat that is on the innards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the loins, and the cover on the liver and the kidneys, he shall take away. Aaron's sons shall burn it on the altar of the burnt offering, which is on the wood that is on the fire. It is an offering made by fire, of a pleasant aroma to Yahweh. If his offering for sacrifice of peace offerings to Yahweh is from the flock, either male or female, he shall offer it without defect. If he offers a lamb for the offering, then he shall offer it before Yahweh, and he shall lay his hands on the head of his offering, and kill it before the tent of the meeting. Aaron's son shall sprinkle its blood around on the altar. He shall offer from the sacrifice of peace offerings an offering made by fire to Yahweh. Its fat and its entire tail fat he shall take away close to the backbone, and the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat that is on the entrails, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the loins, and the cover on the liver, with the kidneys he shall take away. The priest shall burn it on the altar. It is the food of the offering that is made by fire to Yahweh. If it is an offering of a goat, then he shall offer it before Yahweh. He shall lay his hand on its head and kill it before the tent of the meeting. And the sons of Aaron shall sprinkle its blood around on the altar. He shall offer it as his offering, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. The fat that covers the innards, and all of the fat that is on the innards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the loins, and the cover on the liver with the kidneys, he shall take away. The priest shall burn them on the altar. It is the food of the offering made by fire, for a pleasant aroma, all the fat that is Yahweh's. It shall be a perpetual statute that throughout the generations in all your dwellings, that you shall eat neither fat nor blood. Give thanks, blessed love, for these few words. Yeah, quite I find that a bit of a roller coaster of a chapter to read. Is slightly almost like tongue twisters, some of it, with the offerings made by and on the offering and etc. So yeah, I think I got there at the end. So this is talking about a voluntary offering, and they call it a peace offering, that anyone can give at any time on the altar. So it's completely voluntary, and the idea is when they bring the animals, as they suggested, all the parts to the altar, then part of it is burnt on the altar for the aroma to be then a pleasing aroma by God. And how peace offerings work as well is that part would be burnt for God, part of it would be then given to the priests, and part of it would then be given to the family, the person given the offering and the family. So it's kind of shared 3 ways, if you like. So it's completely voluntary, depending on why the people want to make that offering to God. It might be giving thanks, for a birth or something that's particularly happened, but it's just a kind of a personal gesture. So it's by no means a mandatory one. It's got these rules in here about the blood and the fat, and it says here, it shall be a perpetual statute throughout your generations and all your dwellings, that you shall eat neither fat nor blood. and the blood had to be burnt away, and the fat had to be removed. And I think that's very interesting today. There's certain foods that are bloody or full of fat, and within diet but it's very clear here that actually blood and fat should not be consumed, and they need to be separated or burnt away, etc., etc. So yeah, the setting down of a principle of a ritual, one that's voluntary, and one that's kind of very kind of beautiful and intimate. It's quite similar to the one yesterday, with the kind of some of the graphic detail of the animal sacrifice. And as we said yesterday, the whole idea of animal sacrifice, that it was replaced by Jesus himself, who came without defect and replaced that need for an animal sacrifice, without defect. But the idea of an offering can still exist in terms of bringing some food that we've cooked, offering it to the priest, offering it to the god, and sharing it out amongst people, amongst the congregation, and importantly amongst the needy, the homeless and these kind of things. So acts of charity and kindness. We do live in a weird age at the moment with social media, where people do acts of kindness and charity with the camera rolling, showing, oh, how kind I am. Look, I'm giving to charity. I'm giving to a homeless person. And I do find those sort of things very, crass. And you're doing this to show your own. It's about you. It's not about any act of kindness. It's about trying to prove things. And I think the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has got a really interesting stance on this. Long before social media was even invented, it does say, if you're fasting, for example, then don't be holding your belly and saying how hungry you are and these kind of things. Just sprinkle your face with water, wake yourself up, and carry on as if nothing's going on. Do you know what I mean? Don't be fasting trying to show how pious you are, how religious you are, that you need to be doing these things in public and screwing up your face. It also talks about, when you pray and give to the poor, don't hold up the money. Yeah, look what I'm doing. I'm giving in public. No, is do these things in private. Don't be broadcasting it, because who are you broadcasting it to? So, and also when you pray, to pray not with a loud voice, but pray quietly and silently to you and your God in an intimate way. Even close the door, and it's not doing these things in a performative way, really. So yeah, I think the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has got a very beautiful approach to those kind of things, rather than a very kind of performative approach. And I'm conscious of that even with doing these readings, and not wanting them to be performative. So yeah, we have rituals in our lives for many different reasons, and they serve different purposes. Um, so yeah, today, for example, is the day of Nia for Kwanzaa. Nia means purpose, and there be a celebration called an Nguzu Saba near where I live, where the community come together as a community and they share food, talk about faith, talk about purpose, talk about collective work in the community, etc., etc. And the theme of it is it takes a village to raise a child. Um, and it's a set of principles that were invented by a human, but they were to concentrate the mind at a particular time on these kind of collective kind of responsibilities. And it isn't a religious festival. There's nothing in there that contradicts Christian teachings or anything like that. It's just a set of principles that just help communities come together, but doesn't contradict or try to impose religious doctrine or anything like that. So I don't particularly follow Kwanzaa religiously each day of the 7 days of Kwanzaa from Boxing Day onwards, but I do go to the Nguzu Saba gatherings because they are nice community days, and they are kind of community events in the same way that any other community, even a church community, would have a community day. So you can kind of see the need sometimes for rituals to be invented, to people to then say, okay, yeah, on this anniversary, we're going to do this, and it gives an excuse for communities to come together. I think when they become controversial is when they start to become quasi religious, and start to become, yeah, well, you have to believe this and you have to believe that, and it's like, well, hang on a minute, that's going a bit too far. Kwanzaa isn't that. Kwanzaa isn't that, but I think it's also highly misunderstood as well. So yeah, Habaragani to anyone who does observe Kwanzaa. Um, and have a blessed day, have a blessed Nguzu Saba if you've got them in your areas. So yeah, ritual I think is very kind of important. And again, what we're seeing here in Leviticus is these rituals being established with God's instruction, be interpreted by Moses and Aaron and others to put them into place and to have a meaningful place for people in their lives. And I think this voluntary offering that we've seen in Leviticus 3 is a good example of that. It starts off with the word if his offering is a sacrifice of peace offerings, and then it goes on. So whatever rituals work for you to concentrate the mind, we've got other rituals in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church of praying every 3 hours. That's why my alarm went off on my phone. Whatever rituals work for you to just focus the mind, to have a piece of prayer in the hectic day, have a piece of meditation in each day, then, so be it. If it works for you, then it works for you. And it just provides a bit of a structure for the day, for the year, for the month, etc., etc. So yeah, I will end here. So give thanks and blessings and love, and God willing, the day will be fruitful for you. All things come good, and yeah, more tomorrow. Give thanks, glory to God.